Hey Amy, hey Buffalo, Donna Sherlock. Is that any better? If you guys are joining on the replay, we had some technical problems. Some folks weren't getting in the some folks weren't able to get in the scope. Is that better? Okay, great. I didn't do anything but go out and come back in, so I'm no technical genius. Trust me. I struggle with technology so much. I can't believe people spend time on. Yay. Okay, great. I didn't do anything at all except log out and log back in. You know, sometimes when I try to start my scope, it tells me bad connection. So I am in Huntington Beach, 2 blocks from the ocean. So, hi, it gets funnier. We would have handled it one way or another, Amy. So don't worry. But you're in, and you'll be getting an email from me later tonight, and then we start on the phone call tomorrow. So I'm so excited. No, don't worry. Don't worry. You worry too much. What are we talking about? Tonight's just a Q&A. I didn't have any agenda because I've been working on, I'm launching a 12-week weight loss program for some of you that are new to my scopes. I'm Dr. George Kosmides. I've been practicing functional medicine since 1990, licensed as a doctor of chiropractic, and also licensed to teach nationally diabetes education for continuing education hours, 2 doctors. So I've been doing this work for a really long time. I've got 4 books I've written. My latest is Life Without Diabetes. A lot of you on this scope have purchased the e-version. You haven't seen anything yet. We're upgrading the format as we speak, and you'll be able, those of you that purchased it on Amazon will be able to go back and get a free copy of the updated version. Information is the same. It's just formatted for all these different devices. So it's high-tech stuff that I wasn't aware of when I published it. I'm going to have to order the Fat no local store. Yeah, go on Amazon. You'll get it in like 3 days. And just look for the reviews. That's the best way. There are several fitness gurus on my scope. They can give you some direction too. I think Iron Guru is one. Eric is another one. They would know exactly where to help you if you can't find it. So it's really important. And a lot of people give me questions, should I get the scale? I like the hand one because I'm not really worried about weight. Plus, if you're over 300 pounds, a lot of those scales are going to have a hard time tracking it. I don't care about weight. I care more about your body fat. Weight number, it's important to kind of get a lean body mass, but on a day-to-day basis, yeah, inches, but you can't beat, number 1 is body fat percentage. That's the real indicator, right? They're within 3 to 4%, 3 to 5%, I would say. Calipers are anywhere from 3 to 7%. I've read some numbers. The best way is underwater weighing, where they put you on it looks almost like a swing set in the park, and they dunk you in a tank of water. I don't care for it because you have to blow out all your air. The whole idea is to get all the air out of your lungs, so you become as massive as you possibly can. And then since fat floats, they get that's about 2%, but that's a hassle. Good. Fear is an important motivator. Get the one that has the best reviews. That's Tanaka is a Japanese brand, Tanka, and they can range from $20, which are the thumb meters, all the way to $1,000. But usually between 30 and 50, 60 bucks, you get a decent one. Well, that's reality, unfortunately. And again, guys, those of you that are coming on my scopes, I talk about health and reasonable ways to move forward. I wish there was a drug or a pill or an exercise that would resolve our health conditions, but unfortunately it isn't. So I don't say any of these things with glee or any type of happiness. I'm just as disappointed as anyone else that I have to do the things I have to do to keep from being ill or losing my life as my father lost his. So what got me into this work was I lost my father and 2 uncles to the complications of type 2 diabetes. This is an important qualification, not diabetes, all the qualifications that go with it. Women, you guys should range between, I would say, 17 and 22%. Yeah, I did know that. Well, I'm licensed as a doctor of chiropractic, but I teach diabetes for continuing education hours. And I have a chiropractic office. I'm there about 20 hours, 25 hours a week. And then I teach, I just put out a weight loss program. And for those of you more older school that think, what I want you to keep in mind is it doesn't matter what someone has or what someone hasn't. It matters if what they're saying is true or false. I like to say, if I were an MD, does that mean everything I say is true? Or if Einstein was a chiropractor, does that mean it should somehow influence one's judgment about his physics? So we should just really think about what the people are saying and see if it's reasonable. And we can always make judgments on their information, not on them as a person, but on their information by what they say. Does body type affect what body fat should be? It can have an effect, but again, now we're getting into genetics. So the issue that I have with thank you guys so much. It's all because of you guys. It's all when we talk about ectomorph and mesomorph, guys, what they're talking about is body types. No, it's not okay to consume corn syrup. You want to avoid that as much as you can. But mesomorph and ectomorph and endomorphs are body types. Thin, more muscular. You can't change that. We can't change how we were born. I was born 5'7" from a Greek and German mother. I can't change my genes. My mother's still alive, thank goodness. My father passed away at 56. Should you take a bottle of vinegar for enema? I don't recommend that. That's not my field of expertise, enemas, but I don't recommend vinegar in that direction. Hi from CD. How do you feel about alkalinity? Well, I don't feel anything about alkalinity. I think in order to be healthy, our bodies need to be in an alkaline state, no question. There's an excellent book written by Harai, H-R-A. H-A-R-A. It's a red and blue cover. You can get it on Amazon. It's cheap. It's about $5. It's the best book, in my opinion, written on acid alkaline. And that's the name of the book, Acid Alkaline. But you can't miss it because it's red and blue. And in my opinion, all the books since then were based on his work. So phenomenal, easy to read writing. Maybe a couple hundred pages, no, maybe 150 pages. Really a good book. Well, it needs to be qualified. If that's all the person is doing to try to be alkaline, it's a failed attempt. A1 sauce used to be sweetened with raisins. Now they're moving to corn syrup. That's unfortunate. Sure, you can ask a question about pain management. Do T-toxes actually work? T-toxes, you mean like detox teas? You know, I like smooth moves and you know, yogi teas make some good ones, but remember, it's all about doing things in concert. It's not about any one thing. It's almost like putting all the burden in a household of 10 on one person. It's just too much to bear. So you want to spread it around. You want to, you know, remove things that are ballerina tea is great. I have no idea what ballerina tea is. Sorry. But yeah, the whole idea is to and that's what my programs are all about. You guys are going to lose weight as a side effect of your blood work improving, you're getting healthier. My opinion on bacon, it's in my weight loss program. Because guys, the media has some of us fooled into thinking that fat is the bad guy. It's carbohydrates that are the problem, and it's the ones that have a high load and high glycemic index that are the real problems. Bacon's in my weight loss program, no question about it. Yeah, because it doesn't have a glycemic load, okay? I'm a post-op spinal patient, methadone day, simply can't make my meds at least. Yeah, so you can't take your meds because of digestive issues. I was on, when I dislocated my knee and I was in a coma, I came out and I was on injectable morphine. So I know what it's like to be, you know, have that monkey on your back and be in pain. No. Yeah. I have, I think one of my recipes is bacon wrapped scallops. You guys will get the first month tomorrow. First month email tomorrow. But you might even get it tonight. Ages. Yeah, you give me acronyms, break it down. These words come too fast. Well, I got your message, I will do that. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so welcome. Who is that? Mama Panda. Sorry, I thought I sent that audio. My apologies. It wasn't in there. You were right. Great. Yeah, he'll love it. I'm telling you. Forget the word healthy. Forget all that. Just use the recipes in that book. I'm telling you. Can a bad bed leave you in pain? It can. You know, I was scheduled for low back and neck surgery at 19 years old. I know about back pain. Trust me. The firmer the bed for me, the better. And I use a roll-up towel or a buckwheat pillow. Big pillows, fluffy pillows really aggravate my neck. So I'm with you on spinal pain. Pilates, yoga, You know, using a low back chair, all those things are helpful. I like bacon wrapped water chestnuts baked. But see, now we're cooking nuts again. Remember I talked about nuts, right? So I'm gonna check you on that, Kathy. I'm gonna keep you on track here. Yeah, nuts are fine. You just don't want to heat them. They get denatured rather easily and they become rancid. Yeah. HIA. I'm not sure what that means. You got all these acronyms, Kathy. I can't follow them sometimes. But on the methadone issue, so raw nuts, that's correct. So the methadone, John was asking, I was on something called Stadol, which was a synthetic morphine. I was in such pain. After a while, it made me sick to my stomach, and then you end up getting addicted to it, which I had to quit because I felt it coming on, and I got myself off of it at 19-ish years old. I just knew something wasn't right. You would get flu-like symptoms, and I spoke at in Arizona, AA meetings, because addiction is, you can get addicted to that stuff. It worked great for pain, but after a while it was horrid on my body. Hurt my teeth, my kidneys started to have problems. Water chestnuts, aren't they nuts? There we go, another misnomer again, just like buckwheat's not a wheat, right? Yeah, it's a problem, and you have to be committed to it. And you have to work with your doctor, like I worked with mine. He just kept reducing my milligrams because I was injecting it with an insulin needle. That was my prescription. And they just kept reducing my milligram dosage, and I cycled off of it in about a month. It was not fun. I'm also an ex-junkie, so it's difficult. Okay, you're not a junkie. You had a drug addiction, and now you're going to remove yourself from it. Don't call yourself names. No self-loathing on my scopes. Don't do it. I'm not going to allow it. Amy, when you're heavy, when you're carrying a lot of weight, you're going to have all type of circulatory systems. And what may happen is as you start, if you have any numbness, and this is for anyone with any type of pain, if you start getting better, whether it's chiropractic care or losing weight or more nutritional, and you start feeling aches and pains where you felt numbness, in most cases, that's a good sign. And the best way I can reference that is if you ever fell asleep on your leg and it started to wake up, what's the first thing you feel? You feel pain. So sometimes when neuropathies are getting better, you can get the reversal. So don't freak out. Yeah. Yeah, back injuries they're atrocious. I was there at 19, scheduled for 2 laminectomies. Can be. The key is you don't want pain to be in the same place all the time, and you want, if it improves, it'll improve a couple ways. The intensity will drop away, or the duration will drop away. Isn't chiropractic care actually quackery? And absolutely not. Saved my life. Saved my life. How many of you guys want to hear my quick story? I know some of you are probably sick of it. I give you my quick story with a Y or an N. Okay. Well, no, absolutely not. So when I was 19 years old, I was sitting at a stoplight in a 77 Corvette, and I got rear-ended by a 1968 Pontiac going 70 miles an hour. He was a drunk driver. It was about 12 o'clock in the morning. I was working nights, and I was going to school. He hit me so hard, he knocked me on the other side of the Meridian, about 100 yards away, and he went to McDonald's, killed 2 people, and injured 6. And that made the front page of the Las Vegas Sun. It was just a nightmare. I was in a coma for about 4 days. Nothing broken, but my face was all swollen. It was just a nightmare. I went home. My uncle was an orthopedic surgeon. Went there, got physical therapy. Was it Star Rehab? I think it was called. Went through all of it. About 2 months, I wasn't getting any better. I was about 130 pounds when I left the hospital. I'm 180 now, so I put on 50 pounds. I haven't gained any height. So I was really, really just in terrible shape. I began to lose my bowel and bladder function. And I went back to my uncle and I said, I'm losing. He said, well, it's all in your head. You're just looking for attention. You need to see a psychiatrist. So I went to see a psychiatrist, put me on, I think I was when the first year it came out, I was on Zoloft and Xanax, which are antidepressants, and I slept 15 hours a day. And after about, I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 weeks, my dad said, you got to go see a bone setter. And I said, well, what's a bone setter? I said, you mean a doctor of chiropractic? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm not going to go see one of those guys. I'm seeing the best orthopedic and physical therapy facility, in Las Vegas. And he said, look at you. You're 19 years old. You can't even get out of bed. Well, I reluctantly went, sat in the reception with my arms folded, and I was just obstinate, and I was the worst patient you could possibly have. And fortunately for me, the office was cajoling and kind to me and knew I needed care because I was just walking like an old man. Got a treatment and something changed. By my third treatment, I got my bowel and bladder function back. And I was like, oh, what is this? And the doctor's name, Dr. Timothy Francis, began to educate me. Remember, the nerve roots not only affect pain, but they also affect the organs too. They have the anterior front of the root and the posterior dorsal. And each part represents organs or muscles. You can have something called reflex dysmenorrhea, where you can have an organ problem causing back pain, just like you can have a back pain causing organ dysfunction. So after 3 adjustments, I got my bowel and bladder function back, and my pain was reduced within a month. I was like 90%. I was like, put off back surgery. It was just, it was something that I never expected. So that's why today, after 20 years of being licensed as a doctor of chiropractic in several states, I'm always skeptical, but I'm skeptical with an open mind. So when someone says, for example, just for an example, a person said to me, oh, my friend has a machine that cures cancer. Well, right off the bat, cures diabetes. And right off the bat, that already sounded bizarre because there's no machine that can cure, in most cases, a lifestyle-related problem. So now that person's credibility with me just went down the tubes, and they're pretty successful person in the healthcare industry. So when I hear things like that, I still have that skepticism, but I think that's why I've got so much in the research, because I want to qualify it so I can talk to people like you, I can talk to medical doctors, doctors of chiropractic, osteopaths, and I speak to their inquisitiveness. So I'm nowhere near the smartest guy when I go to speak at continuing education seminars. I'm probably one of the most inquisitive. Bell's palsy used to be called truck driver's face. So there's a 3-nerve area called the trigeminal nerve, and what happens is truck drivers would be driving their truck, their windows open, and it would freeze that nerve and damage their nerve, and they would start to drool, and they used to call it truck driver's face. But it depends. If the issue is back here, adjustments could help. If you actually damage the nerve through a trauma here, maybe not. But what's nice about adjustments, my daughter's 5 years old and she's been getting adjusted. She probably goes twice a month or after a bad fall. She functions well, never really sick, because there was a study done, Perot's study, and I won't go into the details, but they found that people who got consistent chiropractic care actually had a 200% increased immune response over people who did not. They had a higher T cell production, and that was something they were never looking for. So whoever is telling you that it's quackery doesn't understand the science. And one more thing I want to talk about this subject. I'm not certified in Ayurvedic, but I understand the principles. I am certified in Chinese acupuncture, but I'm not licensed to use needles in the state of California. Just funny law. So when people say to me, oh, acupuncture doesn't work or Ayurvedic doesn't work, my next question is, what training do you have in it to make that assumption? And 99% of the time, actually 100% of the time, so I don't have any training. Someone just told me. So then again, that's when I talk about the word when something has to be qualified. We have to go back and find out where these sources came from. So you see a lot of loose lip information, especially online now. And I recommend that you guys, go online and pull up biological value or the Wolzen reaction or anything that I talk about. It's there. How do you help pulled groin muscle? Oh, a pulled groin. It's got to be the worst injury on the planet. I don't know. There's, make sure you have a good chiropractor, a good physical therapist, and you listen to them. I pulled a groin in college, and I think it took about 7 months for it to heal. They can take up to 2 years to heal, depending on how deeply they're pulled. And there's a date on both sides. Acupuncture hasn't stood up in placebo-controlled studies. How do you explain that? I went to China, and what I was most impressed with was the pulse diagnosis. These Dr. Yin, this little Chinese medical doctor, acupuncturist, would take your pulse, look at your eyes, and be able to determine a lot of things that were pretty impressive to me. As far as acupuncture goes, does it pull groin hurt in the lower abdomen? It can, again, depends how deep it's pulled. You know, you could have pulled more than just a groin. You could have pulled your spinal rectus or your lower abdominal muscles, support muscles. Could be a lot of things. I used to go to chiropractic. I brought my children. I studied to go back. No, my daughter gets adjusted regularly. I have no hip bursitis. Good, good. Think of acupuncture as the battery in your car, and think of your gasoline as the nutrition and energy that goes into it. So the acupuncture works the same as herbs do. Chiropractic helps the nervous system and the biomechanics. That's a real simple explanation. Acupuncture is all based on neuroelectricity. That's that whole theory. And there's some people, they get miraculous results. If I had a top three, I would put nutrition, chiropractic, and acupuncture in that order. Positives and negatives of steroids. Oh, there's so many. Positive of synthetic steroids? I don't think there is a positive unless you have a debilitating illness that you need them, or you have a wasting disease or some other problem. Have had a good. If you guys make long text messages from me, copy them in case I don't get to them. Healed my MS through it. Yeah, I'm not surprised. 2 Periscope advice you can give me to get started, get many as followed. Just be authentic and talk about something that you have a real interest in and you have a real love for. This work saved my life, and I could have saved my father if I would have known the things that I know now, years ago, but I didn't. And when I found out that he could have been helping himself, the research that goes back to 1985, when Dr. O'Day was reversing type 2 diabetes, and not only reversing type 2 diabetes, but reversing their whole blood disorders in 7 weeks. I got furious. I'm like, why didn't my father have that opportunity? Does honey raise? Yes, honey will raise insulin levels. The body looks at honey just like it does table sugar. Same pathways. The advantage is for raw honey, they have some immune or digestive positive aspects. But yeah, I don't have honey. I think my wife has some raw honey in the house that she uses for like a facial mask and stuff. Karen O'Day, O-D-O''DEA, University of Melbourne in Australia. Go to the ADA site and just type in Karen O'Day. You'll see tons of her research there. Any major tip for ulcerative colitis? You're probably doing something that's irritating the colon. So whenever you see an itis, it's an irritation and an inflammation. So you really want to look at what you're eating wise. So things that will irritate the colon will be things with no fiber, like brominated flour, pizza, Pop-Tarts, Twinkies, donuts. All that stuff has no fiber. If you're a big meat eater but a low fiber eater, there's all kind of variables that can contribute to irritating your colon. Well, Amy, you drop 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds, you're going to help your bursitis. You're going to help your knee problems because you're going to take the load off. So the whole idea of a 12-week program is your overall health is better off. Is chiropractic even good for osteoarthritis? It helps mine, and there's hard research for it. I recommend, like I said, it chiropractically. It's in the office that I'm at. All we do is adjustment. We do excellent adjusting. That's all we do. I don't do any nutrition there. I don't do any weight loss programs. It's all chiropractic. But that's my first love that saved me. This is my love that can save others. And my father just keeps coming in my mind. Can a hiatal hernia be reversed? May have to be surgically corrected. So that's why you have to see a good internist that deals with those. And get a couple opinions. Focus on the few, not the many. Yeah, whenever you guys are dealing with something, a knee problem, go to a knee specialist. Shoulder problem, go to a shoulder specialist. Get a chiropractor involved in that mix because it'll turn on life in the body and help these problems function better, even if they're surgically need to be repaired. Can someone be a type 1? No. Type 1 classified as a genetic disorder within the beta cells of the pancreas. Some say it's an autoimmune problem. There is some research now that's giving some other options on that. And a type 2 is an acquired diabetic. but now there's a 1.5 and there's a pre-diabetic. It's a mess. Good way to lower fat percentage. First way is we're going to talk about at least 5 to 7 real keys is 3 hours before bed, no simple sugar. Simple sugar, I don't care whether it comes from fruit. I was watching a scope, real nice lady. She recommends, I think 5 ounces of cherry juice before bed. But it has like, I think 4 ounces have like 18 grams of sugar. Well, 1 gram of sugar suppresses somatotropin, but it may have melatonin, no question, and that has been shown to induce more deeper REM sleep because of enhancing serotonin levels. But the problem it goes back to is we're taking in a sugar that's suppressing the production of them and the uptake. So why don't we take something that doesn't have the glucose in it? That's my whole thing. It depends. Look at the label. If there's carbohydrates, the research is saying 1 gram suppresses somatotropin release. 1 gram. Hey, is that Joanne? Hey, Joanne. That's my friend. Follow her, guys. She'll put a smile on your face, guaranteed. Thoughts on wheat belly book and way of eating. There's definitely some good points in there. I'm definitely not a whole wheat eater. I'm a flourless eater, and I recommend sprouted grains if you're going to eat them at all. But the number one thing you could be eating is buckwheat. I would use it in as many recipes as you possibly can. My stepmom, endocrinologist, was told she was a type 1 and type 2. Interesting. When you're a type 1, there's 2 specific tests, a C-reactive protein test and a 3-month average, what's called your A1C, and they should repeat those. And what I always ask when I hear interesting statements like that is, did they run those tests? And there's a new one coming out. I don't think the FDA is even cleared yet, but I think it's like $1,100 or insurances are balking at paying for it. It's a long number. They haven't even named it yet. That's supposed to be even more. Why buckwheat? Oh, so many reasons why. Number one, which is bizarre, is buckwheat is not a wheat at all. It's a fruit seed, actually. And if you pull up in Wikipedia, buckwheat, it should say in there somewhere, they don't want to change the name because it would confuse too many people. Well, it's confusing to me now that it's called buckwheat and it's not a wheat product. Thank you for inviting your followers. And thank you for the hearts, guys. I broke 1 million, I think, yesterday, and that's after like 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks. But yeah, buckwheat, just pull it up online. It's what I call the incognito superfood. I ate a last bad supper tonight. I'm sorry about that. What is Goderma lucidema good for? I don't know. Yeah, something like that, I think. And again, it's all about giving value, I think. When I go to a chiro, I put face down on the hydraulic table and lowers my arms and go numb. Tell him that. There's something going on usually up here, or there could be some other issues. They'll usually run a nerve conduction test, or they'll take films to find out if you have any degeneration that may be affecting those segments. So do you tend to advocate a lower carb diet? Timing is the key, and the proper carbs. Sorry, I'm not sure what that is. You may be getting out of my field of expertise. Timing is the real key with carbohydrates. So remember, your body is very, it's built to be very Neanderthal. The caveman diet and all that. There's some value there. So when we eat sugary foods, white potatoes, carbohydrates, our blood sugar kicks up and it thinks we're going to go work. And then if we eat that way and we go to bed, guess what's going to happen? Within about 40 to 80 minutes, all that insulin release is going to suppress all of our cool hormones, probably going to keep us up, won't let us sleep well, plus get deposited as fat, several hours later. Yeah, you'll get an email. I'll send it when I finish with my scope. I'll send you an email, you guys an email. And if you guys had a problem getting in, so I launched my 12-week program. Emails went out today. It starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. There were probably 68 people, 70 people just from the scope that wanted to get in, and a few people, about 4 or 5 of you guys had problems with the signing up, and hopefully that's been taken care of. If it hasn't, email me. I'll be on my laptop tonight for at least another hour, making sure everything is okay. My IT person's, he's got 4 kids. 2 of them got sick. He thinks they got meningitis. He took them to the hospital. So I've been kind of communicating with him to see how they're doing. He's got his hands full. Fasted workouts, what do you think? Fasting in general. Fasted workouts, you mean training hungry? I think that's a good idea, because remember, stress brings out somatotropin, especially when you're doing weights, but training, it's a whole nother qualification. Low impact. Sorry guys, if you're using kettlebells, I think it's a huge mistake. If you're jumping up and down on boxes, another huge mistake. Yeah, if you're doing stuff like that. So what's our good snacks for eating? Okay, so eggs, protein, vegetables, broccoli, raw carrots, raw celery, raw peanut butter, anything that has low load and low glycemic load should be fine. Well, I try. I won't always answer them quickly, but I try. What should I do if my dog bites me? Well, bite him back. Maybe he'll learn not to do it anymore. Why not? Why not with the kettlebells? Because it's all momentum. You guys are swinging them things, right? So muscles are very time sensitive. They don't care about how many. They care about, you're welcome, they care about load and time. So when you swing those kettlebells, most of the joint pain is at the end of the range and then at both ends. Well, when's the muscle going to get involved? If you're just swinging these doggone things, just the amount of benefit you get versus the amount of injury you get, it's just not worth it. So I put things on a scale. Risk versus reward. And kettlebell risk is here and the reward is about there. Running in sand or doing lunges in the sand, the risk is here and the benefit is off the scale. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me. That's for certain. Just a different point of view. But I can certainly give you some things to read that may change your mind. I remember I trained all the wrong ways in college. All the wrong ways. And again, I'm not here to make anybody wrong. I'm just giving you my point of view. Agree with kettlebells. Do slow movements with. Yeah, go slower. How do you train now? I do like a eclectic training. I ride maybe 50 miles a week on my bike. I drink coconut water. Water with coconut oil in it, and it seems to make a huge difference in the last couple of weeks with me, as far as energy level and my body fat. And I do resistance training, but I do it totally different. It's hard to explain. I've been told I should make some sort of a training series, and I will. I just don't have time right now. But I read a couple of books. One was forwarded by, it slips my mind now. Power Factor Training. And then I read the companion manual, and they got into the science and the physics of working out, and it impressed me. And I started fooling with that. That was about 12 years ago. So I trained totally different than I did when I was in college. I'm in my 50s now. I can't be bashing my joints around. They don't like that. How do you get the coconut oil to dilute in water? I don't just float, so I just put it in one of those glass water bottles and go on my bike, and it floats on the top, and if I drink it all, I end up getting 90% of it. Thanks for the info, especially buckwheat. I'm a doctor, and I had no idea. Yeah, it's powerful stuff, Doc. Check it out. So there's a few of them: buckwheat, spelt, aramotha, and I did a scope on buckwheat, and I read several research papers, and a lot of them are saying buckwheat is totally gluten is totally besides the point. It's the quality of gluten foods that's the real problem. Out coconut oil and coffee or hot tea? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to be able to take a teaspoon by itself, but in my mind, remember, guys, I'm weird. My mind is like, well, how can this benefit me? Taste is a little bit interesting. It doesn't matter. I'll do it. Don't they all raise blood sugar though? Coconut oil? No, it doesn't. Not to my. I haven't read anything that it spikes the insulin level or that it has a glycemic load. Remember. Coconut oil is now being given and recommended. There's some peer-reviewed research for Alzheimer's patients and neurological disorders because of this fat issue, this medium chain fat. And there's 2 acids, and look these up, guys. There's 2 acids in coconut oil that are deemed to be like the miracle acids: capric and lauric acid. And the only places that those 2 acids are found in more abundance is mother's milk. It's powerful stuff. Yeah, see, there we go, back to quality again. I get asked that a lot. I would say a teaspoon a day minimum for 100 pounds of your body weight, just your total body weight. Don't get into lean body mass at this point. Just a teaspoon a day. every day. How do you can take it? Anyway, if I haven't had any during the day, I'll come home at nighttime and I'll slam a couple of teaspoons. But now I'm taking it in my water. You take 3, great. Just remember, when you guys begin to make a shift from, cooking with canola oil and eating, white breads and things like that, your body is not going to be happy initially in most cases because it's gotten used to those chemically induced sensations. So it's going to be an addiction, just like any other. Just do the best you can, but don't give up, and your body will begin to change. Remember, the body likes consistency. Difference between store milk and fresh out of the cow milk. Well, pasteurization means they actually cook it, so they've denatured the milk and destroyed all the enzymes. That's why it can keep for so long. So commercial milk can keep for what, 2 weeks, 20 days? Where if you get raw milk, it keeps for 2 days. That's why you don't see me really recommending it, because number 1, it's expensive. Number 2, it doesn't keep very long. But from a taste standpoint, oh, it's addicting. It's some of the sweetest milk you ever drink. Good. Just be consistent, guys. Be consistent. And if you go to a grocery store or where you live, they don't have it. Ask the ask the manager. Say, excuse me, can you carry a ABC product? Is there something I could fill out? And be very nice. If enough people ask, restaurants will change, grocery stores will change, and how we get them to change. And I did a scope with Diane Bernard. If you guys don't follow her, type her name in. She's a brilliant scope person, and she wants to help people like you and me perform better on scopes, give better information. Don't support them with your pocketbook. If a place is making something you don't care for, if you're a GMO advocate, don't support companies that produce that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was overwhelming. No, but you have to take it. When people like Diane get moved by something, they're moved. Can you spell her name? Oh boy, you guys are really testing my skills. Coconut oil lip gloss. There you go. But the problem is it melts at 70 degrees, so it's not going to get in those one little sticks. Bernard, Bernard. It's pretty easy. Yeah, that's her. So, when you see people like that, and she's educated, you can tell she's educated, but there's a fine line between being overwhelming, like you said, we were on that scope, and just putting people to the point where they don't want to do anything. So maybe that's why they invited me on the blab. Maybe I was the sense of reason. Rarely am I the conservative one, but it was a good one. But in that blab, I think I was the conservative voice. I don't know too much about Dr. Oz. I try to review on a daily basis. I go through some media sites and see what's trending. And I think his one of his, I don't know, I'm sure he didn't write it, but maybe one of his writers wrote, drink 8 ice glasses of water a day to boost your metabolism, which is a ridiculous statement. And I would be more than happy to give my physiological reasons why. But I mean, I think he's, he talks about things, and then he has people who support his program that are selling garbage. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch that much TV, so, but I just see what I see on the Huffington Post and other types of huge social medias. And he doesn't take his own advice. He is commercialized himself. She was not. I can see she was not trying to calm people. She was trying to strongly warn people. No. Believe me. Give me 1,000 Dianes versus someone who's lukewarm. There's an old saying when I was in school: stand for something, or you will fall for anything, and you'll be good for nothing. So, when you grab all the information, get foundationalized in it, and then you can go. I hear you. Thanks. Again, if they asked me to come on the show, of course I would go. But are they asking me to come on the show because they're interested in my opinion, or are they asking me on the show to be negative about something? Then I'm not really interested. I don't recommend, unfortunately, and again, I don't say this with glee because I was a milk drinker when I was a kid. I don't recommend any dairy products, and I'm even moving away from fermented ones for several reasons. I just use water in mine. There's no calories there. The body needs it. Or kettlebells produce hip first movement, which is safer for your back. I disagree, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree. No kefir. Well, there's coconut kefir. There's rice kefir. You don't have to always get dairy. If clear to exercise, the best exercise, in my opinion, is swimming or Pilates. Well, it's not fresh out of the cow. It's considered raw milk, and they go through a cold purification process. You get so fixated, Amy. Wheat, I'm going to think about Amy, wheat and water kefir. But water in itself can't make kefir because kefir is a fermented beverage. So what are they fermenting in the water to make it a kefir? That's what you need to find out. What is in the water? If this you don't know this, I'm a little bit disappointed. But what are they doing to make the water ferment? Water doesn't ferment on its own, right? So these are the questions that I always ask because I want to get to the why, the why, the why. And then once it makes sense to me, then I can say, oh, I understand. So when they make coconut kefir, they're fermenting coconuts. When they make rice kefir, they're fermenting rice. Yeah, I didn't read it. I'm sorry, but you should be able to say the fermentation product in the water is A, B, C, D. You're not going to disappoint me because I'm not taking it. He'd become a celebrity. We lose his goals. No, these are fun for me. I don't think I'll ever be a celebrity. I think I'm too honest for my own good. But I've tried to be diplomatically honest. So in the last several years, I don't think I've offended anyone. But if I have, it wasn't by choice, because the only people that I care about are the ones that are suffering. The other people that make any type of derogatory comments, I could care less about. You guys, thank you for all the hearts and the shares. Thoughts on rise in modern devices helping solve the diabetes crisis? I don't think any device is going to fix diabetes, personally. I think monitors are excellent. I think they're coming out with a new testing unit that's laser based. There's no more finger pricking. It's a laser that goes through the finger. But what needs to happen, in my humble opinion, is that big agriculture needs to get involved and quit making high load foods that are cheap and readily available. I was at a cafe yesterday working, and there was a bunch of 8th graders. I walked over to them, and they were having lunch, and it was nothing but chips, packaged sandwiches, and soda pop. There's our next diabetics. If there were 6 people at that lunch table, very nice, well-to-do girls from a private school, if there were 6 of them there, I would say 4 of them would be a diabetic before they're 25, if that's the way they construct their eating habits. So that's where the fix needs to happen. There's no machine or gadget that's going to fix that. Well, let's remove the word cure. Let's say definitely the kitchen can make a huge impact, no question, whether you're a type 1 or a type 2. Because remember, it's all about reducing the load. If you reduce the load, you reduce the stress on the endocrine system. If you reduce the stress on the endocrine system, you need less outside support. That's just fundamental. And when I teach this, there's nobody that can argue with me because I'm not for or against anything. I'm not here to bash medicine or bash that's pharmacy. That's just not my thing. My thing is, okay, where are we at? How can we move forward? And what have we been doing for the last 20 years that got us in this shape? Let's twist that a little bit. Let's change it. Reduce the load, reduce the glycemic load. So when we eat a high glycemic food, so that simply means we eat something that demands a lot of insulin response or hormone response, like a white potato or a white bread. If we're a type 1 diabetic and we're genetically incapable of making insulin, we have to take more insulin. So that's more of a demand on our liver and our kidneys to process that, because that's where the real problems lie, all the secondary reactions. If we're a type 2 and we've acquired this condition through our lifestyle, now we're just putting a bigger demand. It's much like driving your car and pulling a trailer when you high load foods and all your tires are halfway deflated. Do you think your motor is going to work harder? Think you're going to have more problems with the car? I know it's a very crude example, but I think it makes the point of no one needs that, whether you're a diabetic or not. So I guess I'm trying to bring out the athlete in the person just by helping improve their kitchen. infographic. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You're a mechanic. Yeah, right. No, you don't want me working on your car. Trust me, ask my wife. Anything mechanical in the house, you know, light bulbs, things like that I can do. Maybe out of your scope, but thoughts on sublingual drops to treat allergies. Let's talk about allergies for a moment. So remember, the same tissue that lines the nasal cavities also lines the digestive tract and the joints. So if we're eating terrible food, high glycemic, highly processed food, and it irritates our digestive tract, do you think it may irritate our sinuses? How many of us went to a restaurant and ate really hot food and get what? Your nose starts running. Or you eat a really rich meal and next morning you're all clogged up. Your nasal passage is all. That's not an allergic reaction. That's irritation, especially if the fluid comes out of it clear. That's an irritation response. So does that mean you're allergic? It means, in my opinion, let's clean up your gut first, and you'd be surprised and amazed at how much of these allergies either become non-existent or lessen in severity. So I'm a fundamentalist first. Let's do the fundamental things we can do rather than what I call reaching for exotics. I think they can have their place, no question. Yeah, it's just a reaction. That's correct. Some people react more than others. So if pollen causes allergies, why doesn't everybody get them? What food cleans sinuses? The ones that aren't junk foods, the ones that are whole foods will help. Do people think chiropractors are MDs? You seem to have to defend DCs. No, I'm not defending DCs. There's a perception, wrongly, in some people's mind. I know my father had that perception. But no, I'm not in defense or offense. I'm a very down the road kind of a chap. But I do, not so much anymore. When I first started teaching, I would have people ask me, you know, you're a chiropractor, what could you possibly know about diabetes? And just because I don't prescribe drugs doesn't mean I don't have any knowledge. Or being a doctor of chiropractic doesn't disqualify me from thinking. Doctors absent are expensive already, so how do you change with limited fund? Doctors' appointments, and I'm not sure I understood that question. I have worked with DCs for years, very qualified and helpful. Well, some of them are really bright. Some MDs too. I mean, Dr. Shelton in I don't know if he's still with us, but in Phoenix, he was an MD, but he was also president of the homeopathy board. And he found out what I was doing with chronic illness patients. He would just flood my office with people that wouldn't, you know, get better. So Japanese water crystals and a culture of bacteria, yeast, held in complex. Primary care docs are collaborating with DCs much greater degree. Well, you know, that's the whole key. With any programs that I do, I recommend primary. Whether your primary is a naturopath, a chiropractor, or an MD, or DO, it doesn't matter. It matters. The whole goal is to do what? The patient to get better. Yeah, and you know, one of the things I'm going to give you guys in the program is 4 ways to communicate better with your doctor, regardless of what degree they have. 4 questions, 4 ways when you go to your appointment, you get the maximum benefit out of it. And you know, for example, with my pediatrician, I interviewed 8 and I accepted 1. But the 7 of them, they were nice people. They just weren't congruent with my, you know, the way I wanted my daughter cared for. It wasn't a negative thing. I just had a few questions. And the point is, the 7 that we didn't go with, it was all a cordial meeting, and I would talk to them today if I saw them on the street. I do have a Facebook page. It's my name. Where's my sheet at? My daughter takes all my stuff and writes the Superman. Oh, here it is. So that's my website, and I think there's a link to my Facebook page on there. So I finally broke down and hired someone to help me with the IT stuff. So yeah, with the proper tools. Thank you, Tiki. Follow this lady. She's an Oklahoma marine biologist. Brilliant little girl. A lady, I'm sorry. I would love to come work my preceptorship with you. Sure. Absolutely. I think I'm going through a process to be able to do that now too. But I'm just so busy with other things, but I'd love to. Let me see what... I love doing these scopes. You guys ask us. Thanks, Donna Black. Thank you, Donna. Absolutely, you can send me an email. You guys, I appreciate all your emails, and I try to respond to them. Just don't be mad at me if I take a day or two. Do you believe high fructose corn syrup has contributed to more diabetes? Do I believe it? I wouldn't say I believe it, but the research appears to point in that direction, as well as corn and potato products, because they have a very demanding glycemic load. So understand this: what I believe or don't believe is totally irrelevant to the things that I'm talking to you folks on. You know, if I were Albert Schweitzer or Mahatma Gandhi, I guess my beliefs would mean something. But you know, I'm just a guy who's been looking at this stuff for over 20 years, and hopefully can explain it in a way that the average person like you and me can understand. Interesting. So crystals are fermenting water. Never heard of that before. Yeah, don't give me the whole article. Copy and paste about a paragraph. You want me to get the program out to you guys. You can't give me like a lot of things to read around. I've got another teaching class I've got to do on the 26th, and now they want me to teach a full day. And what kind of questions should I ask looking for a primary? You know, email me. I'll give you that. You know, even though you're not gonna, I don't know if you're my program or not, but that's something I'm gonna give my program people. But you know, I'll give you that. That's simple. You ask in a very nice way, and I certainly will give you that. But just 4 simple questions. Really simple stuff. Because I get this as well. People that come in either pro chiropractic who've never even been touched by one, but they already know that we can help them. Don't ask me why. Or people who are, my doctor told me never to see one type of a thing. So you know, there's ways you can talk that are nice. Do I have to have one? Your primary can be in some states a DC, a naturopath, a DO, or an MD. So it's nice to have someone that you're on the same page with. If you want to do, you know, if you want to work with Dr. Kosmides and you want to do my diabetes program and you work with them, I won't see someone who takes insulin that doesn't have a primary as far as a virtual patient, or even in my office. I won't do that because that's playing Russian roulette, especially if they're on a prescription medication. It makes no sense. Plus, any doctor that would work with them, that's working with their lifestyle and nutrition and things like that, that doesn't advocate them having a primary, they look like a quack. I don't want to be perceived like that. Plus, I'm worried about the patient's well-being. I mean, if you start getting healthier, your meds are going to change up or down, and you want someone who's prescribing them to do that change. You want that, you want to have them on your on your side, because your numbers will go down. I've had people with blood sugar over 800. By them implementing certain health-related aspects, we've gotten them hugely, massively improved. Founded diabetics looking for a, sorry, I didn't get all that. Founded, your brother and sister founded diabetic, that's all I got. Kombucha, interesting premise. The story behind it was the young man who made it, I guess his mother had some sort of cancer. I don't know the whole story, but this beverage actually supports digestive health. I know for me, I don't drink a lot, and sometimes I'll go grab a couple of them before I go to a party and have them there in my glass and drink kombucha. I feel better, and I won't get totally snoggered, but I will catch a little bit of an alcohol-related inebriation. But what about Guanabana? I don't know what that is. You guys are smart. I have no idea what some of the stuff that you guys ask me. It's funny. And that's another thing. If a doctor doesn't know, I'm the first one to say, "Hey, look, I have no idea what that is, but I'm open to learning." So I'm not on meds except for seizures. Well, you are on meds, but if you don't see it, you're saying you don't have a primary. That's a concern. Who's regulating your meds? I'm certainly not going to do it, and I think you shouldn't be doing it, because if you get healthier, what if now it's almost like someone that's on 100 units of insulin now cleans up their diet, drops 20 pounds. Are they going to need the same doses as they needed, a month before? Probably not. Who's going to adjust that dosage? Them? Now you're playing doctor and pharmacist. It's just, it's a game you don't want to play. It's a fruit supposedly rich in cancer-fighting nutrients. Oh, there's so many research, apricot seeds, and I've read some really powerful stuff. Even cannabis now has some anti-cancer properties. So there's a lot of stuff out there. But again, that's not my field of expertise. My field is more broad than that. It's about setting a a platform up where we maximize. If you do things like that, you maximize their effects because you're pulling out all the waste. Okay, so your neurologist is your primary. That's fine. As long as you have some professional that, if you're taking meds, that some professional that's licensed and caring for you to do that, that monitors you, that's all. I must say you're down to earth and doing a good thing. Oh, you're so welcome. No, but I'd like to know. Email me. I've never heard of it. How do I lose 10 pounds? I'm 17. I weigh 200. How tall are you? And what's your body fat? That's what you want to check. So you're 17. You guys got to have a fitness center around somewhere. Call them up and say, hey, do you guys do body fat checks? And sometimes they'll just do it for free and see where you're at. Then you decide how much weight you should lose. And then you'll know how much of that weight you lose is fat. I mean, if you're 200 pounds and you lose 10 of it, but your body fat drops 1%, that's no bargain at all. That means you lost 9 pounds of muscle or 9 pounds of water. Of course, the world would get to the mental doctor. Oh, you'd be surprised. Yeah, find out what it is. That's important. If you're, I mean, I'm just guessing, but you're probably going to be in the 35, 36%, 38% range if you're not really muscular, and that's a problem. So once you have those numbers down, then you can do things that are going to help you. 6'2", yeah. So you're, yeah. BMI is good, but get your body fat checked. You know, don't basal metabolic index is kind of becoming old school. Yeah, just give them a call, or just Google, you know, body fat testing. But for you guys on the program, you want to get that meter because some of you guys, I mean, forget the scale. Once you have your weight the first week, don't take it again until the end of the first month. You want to get that scale because that thing will start ticking down. If you drop 3% body fat the first month, for some of you that are 200 pounds overweight, it's going to be huge impact on your body, huge on your insulin level. Because now they're saying obesity. What was the research that I read that I have to go back and review? If you're 35% body fat, you have like a 69% chance of developing type 2 diabetes, even though you have no history of it in your family. I mean, it's just body fat is just. You got to get it down. You ladies have to get it below 30%. You just got to do it. And here in LA, there's a new thing now. I don't know how new it is, maybe a couple of years. They call it skinny fat. These little girls are running around 120 pounds and they're carrying 35, 38% body fat. Yeah. So 5'5", your normal body is probably somewhere between about the 130 to 160 range. So you're about, 170 pounds over. The only issue I have with programs like that is once you finish the program or you stop going, I've never had a person that maintained their weight. Or do they really focus on body fat? Guys, that's the key. I don't care what program you do, paleo, eat like a caveman, eating for your blood type. I don't care about any of that if it doesn't meet certain premises. And number one is reduce your body fat, reduce your glycemic load, reduce impactful exercises, and emotionally become healthy and happy. And emotionally become happy. Communicate better with your spouse or your co-workers, and that has to be incorporated in that mix. And sometimes to some people it's number one. We're going to address that. In fact, the first email my program patients get tomorrow or later tonight is going to be on that, cleaning up your past. Swimming is good for anything. I took my daughter swimming today. She's like a fish. It's the best because number one, it's low impact. Number two, it helps you work your whole core. And you're outside. The only concern is, how much chemicals are going in the pool, but if we had to think about every little nitpicky thing, we'd never leave our house. We'd go live in a mountain somewhere. What about a juice cleanse? Sure, but understand, and I talk about this a lot, detoxing and exercise are controlled forms of trauma. So you're exercising to break the body down so it builds back up and your muscles improve and you become strong, you become healthier. I get that. But there's certain qualifications. Eat, sleeping are important. With detox programs, you're going to purge a lot of things out of the body, and sometimes in a very quick manner. When I first got in practice, I did them. And I would have, this is the God's honest truth, I would literally have people come to my office in a bed sheet because they couldn't physically get dressed because they were so weak. And I was thinking, they would come to me on a Monday, I'd have them on detox by Friday. Some people, they're so toxic already, you want to ease them into that. So I help you do that through my program. Even though it's virtual, I teach you the steps to take yourself as fast as your body can tolerate. Some people are so bad off, guys, that you try to throw exercise at them, or you try to throw, a green lifestyle at them too quickly, you can just put them over the edge. And remember, the first week or 2 weeks, they're looking for this is for my healthcare professionals that are watching me. And please, I'm no smarter than you. I'm just more inquisitive. If you give them too much too fast and you put them over the edge, now you're messing with their psychology, and they may never want to come back, or they may never try again. So you have to let them ease into things, and in their mind, a couple of pounds here and there. It may not seem a lot to you and I if you work with these people, but to them it's a psychological factor. Yeah, Amy, I'm talking to you and Lynn and Star and Mary and all the other people that are going to be in my program. I'm conscious of that. It's $479 for 12 weeks, and you get me every week. Let me talk about that for a minute. So you get me every week on a phone call. So tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., I'll be on the phone with all of you guys on a conference call. Tomorrow's call is probably going to be close to 45 minutes to an hour to make sure everything gets on, and the first time is always interesting. And then you'll get emails from me, probably going to get 2 or 3 this week. Yeah, that's correct. 2 or 3 this week, different topics, and it's going to be on a digital file as well. So you'll be able to read the files and listen to them in audio. There'll be videos. There'll be some PDFs that you'll get in the email. But for some reason you lose your email, it'll be up in a digital file that every week you'll be able to access that digital file 24/7. So I've constructed it where it'll follow you anywhere. All the stuff you can watch on your phone. It's pretty cool. And again, I'm not here to send you, there's a lot of programs, and we've all gotten them. They send you everything in one shot. And you're like, I send you the first month's meal plan, but I send you emails every week, 1 or 2, sometimes 3 emails. Maybe it's a 3-minute video, maybe it's a PDF, to kind of move you in the right direction. Like Amy watched the video on dialysis. Just things to motivate you to realize, being unhealthy, guys, it's just going to get worse. And weight loss, that's going to be the side effect of the program. If you're healthy, you change your lifestyle, you eat better. I mean, Asaph dropped 15 pounds. One of my IT guys, he's probably in bed by now. I think he dropped 15 pounds just the first month by doing some couple of basic things. Yeah. Remember, in life, and I talk about this, and you may get this in your audio platform. Again, I build them out by the week. I don't have them all prepared right now. That's why I'm working so hard. We do things in life for 2 main reasons: love or fear. And my business coach taught me that, Stephen Griffith. If he ever comes on the scope, you guys get him. And he's absolutely right. I thought about that coaching he gave me, and he's right. People that have moved with me, have flown me to go see them in the East Coast. When you get right down to it, yeah. So they were in most cases they were scared to death, because now they built their career, they built their lives, they had their family, and now they're been told, if you don't do this and this, you could have a massive heart attack or get renal failure or whatever it was. So that's a good I use that tool. I don't use the fear to scare. I use the fear. It's okay, you're afraid. Now let's take that fear motivation and propel you with steps that are reasonable. That'll show up on your lab work as being positive. That'll show up in your family as being positive. I've had husbands tell me, thank you for helping my wife. Our relationship is so much better because her health improved, or vice versa. I cried when my payment went through. Oh, don't cry. Just cry if you don't follow through. Then you should cry. Good. There's going to be a lot of emotions going through the program, but that's all part of purging. When people say detox, a lot of times we're just thinking chemical, but for those of you health gurus that watch my scopes, you guys are doing emotional detoxes too. Most of you probably already know that. But anyone who is chronically ill, there's an emotional component that happened long before they got sick. And if you're a physician that doesn't recognize that, in my opinion, you're missing the boat on a lot of people you could be helping in a very tremendous way. I'm not here to say, well, we have to give them a psychological profile. Just have to talk with them and ask them, did anything happen? And there's an exercise that you guys are going to do probably on your second or third week. I haven't decided where I'm going to put it. That's going to give you a home exercise, a private exercise to do to begin to clean some of that up. And it's important. I was sexually abused I think I was 10 years old by a housekeeper. 7 out of 10 people, according to research, had been abused in some way before the age of 15. The problem is we tend to carry that with us in our lives, and that baggage gets bigger and bigger. And then we get self-loathing, we did something wrong. Yeah, okay. So what are we going to do with that? I don't want to hear you call yourself depressed. So that's the last time you're going to use that word. You have some issues of concern. That's it. Do you believe in the philosophy programs are short-term but experience? Well, yeah, you have to teach people to fish, and then they're good. So that's what I teach fundamentals. When we Jesus is important, but what is it? Help yourself first. Don't expect any miracles coming that are going to change obesity or change your diabetes. You can pray all the time, and I'm all for faith, don't get me wrong, but we have to do fundamental steps. You can't go to McDonald's and wish that food was going to be healthy or whatever it's going to be. What was it? What country was it? Was it Brazil that I saw on Huffington Post, something like 180 McDonald's closed up because people just stopped going? And I'm not advocating people losing their jobs. That's terrible. But serve a better quality food. Use low glycemic grains. Use real food products. That's all. Well, I like to think so. Mine got awfully beat up for a number of years, by a lot of it by my own hand. Anyway, guys, if you guys that are in my program having a problem, I'm going to go, since I get done with this call, I'm going to go online and make sure that the email is going to go out for the first week. Good. You haven't had anything yet. What is your viewpoint on vaccines? Email me and I'll give you my 3-page position paper on them. If you really want to know. McDonald's is poison good for. I think it was Brazil. Don't quote me on that. I just remember all the franchises just pulled up and left. So I don't know if it was Brazil, but Bolivia or Brazil, one of those. Good. Ebola. I don't know. There seems to be something new every several months that comes out, but I'm not sure how that's fabricated. Is it good read? The research, it is good read. The paper with, is that the person who got the position paper from me? Hi, from Indy. India or Indiana? Oh, you asked for the research paper. Oh, great. Or my position paper. I'm confused. How do you pronounce coccyx? Well, the coccyx is the end bone in the spine, right? Something it's the vestige of a tail. And Indianapolis, okay. Yeah, I've got people all over for my scopes. And I really enjoy doing these. That's why now I think I've been on for like an hour. I'm like, I enjoy it. I think I'm apprehensive to go back to work because I really enjoy the questions that you guys ask. Very smart people. Wow. Where are you at? I'm in Redondo Beach. Let me give a preempt of what I am. My name is Dr. George Kosmides. I'm a licensed doctor of chiropractic in several states. I teach continuing education to doctors here in the state of California. Soon, once we're approved by the state boards, which is happening as we speak, I'll be teaching in 48 states virtually. Doctors can take 12 hours online, and they can take 12 hours face-to-face. So I teach the face-to-face, and I'll be teaching the online too. I practice about 25 hours a week, straight chiropractic office here in Redondo. Good Life Chiropractic, excellent work, excellent office, great staff, perfect. And I do virtual programs, and I see virtual clients through my website. If you're interested, there's a scheduling place there. You can get a half hour, no charge, just to talk with me. I'm not trying to be your primary. What I'm trying to do is give you reasonable steps to take, if there are any, and usually there are, to move you in a better direction than your health is going. Is it possible that chiropractic medicine can treat any illness? Well, we don't treat illness. The basis of chiropractic is to adjust the spine, improve the nervous influence on the body. With that, along with a healthy lifestyle, healthy emotions, you will do better. And it saved my life from my bad accident. So, anyway, I gotta go. I gotta put my daughter. I gotta go put my daughter to bed. I'll see you guys later. I told you not to come out here like that. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.